Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Thank you, everyone who come and who watch us online. I'm Valentin Pugachev, and today, in the framework of UCMC pilot project Spokesman of Peaceful Life, we are going to speak about charity organizations that help vulnerable groups of Ukraine controlled areas of Luhansk and Donetsk regions. And I would like to present the Republic Fund and its director, Oksana Ponomaryova. They try to help pensioners in the eastern regions of Ukraine because, according to Bureau of Statistics, it's a large category of people in the Lugansk and Donetsk area. According to experts, pensioners are vulnerable groups, and most of them due to chronic illnesses and some age limits. They can't leave their houses. And also military actions led by the militants led to the fact that most hospitals were closed and social benefits are not paid now. And Republic Fund and other funds continue to help pensioners and provide psychological help to them. So, what is the number of those who got assistance, and what is your contribution into the peaceful life in the East? Oksana Ponomaryova is going to tell us about it, and the other speaker, because of technical reasons, Natalia cannot join us. Natalia Malchenko, director of Charity Foundation for the Future of Ukraine, she won't be able to join us. So, Oksana Ponomaryova, good afternoon. Before you start, please speak slowly, because we have simultaneous translation into English. Now the floor is given to you. Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Oksana Ponomaryova, and I represent the fund. It means joint effort. And our fund help old people and to disabled people. Our fund is in Kiev. We are oriented on that people who fled, and they didn't have the IDP status. They were refugees from eastern parts, and they fled to Kiev. They tried to find some help and cooperation with people who could provide help to them and to feed them. We didn't choose target group. They chose us, and we were just volunteers who helped everyone who found our telephone numbers, those who needed help. And then these people, they found work and housing, and only old and disabled, they were left out of this process, and they are those who need help constantly. And also we observed in the summer of 2014, there was a trend that after 2 months after people fled their housing, they started to get ill, young and old, all of them. But it's difficult for elderly people to deal with the diseases they got. And we understood that our target group is pensioners and disabled people. And pensioners, IDP pensioners in Kiev and Kievska Oblast, they get social benefits. They found housing, and our cooperation was in the form of social patronage or help if some coordination with clinics was needed to find some expensive medicines. At the same time, often we got demand for from controlled and uncontrolled territory at the line of contact. We help people to get out of that dangerous area. We didn't have so much means to help groups of people. We helped individually. We placed people in hospitals, in houses for elderly, and then the violence decreased, and we decided that we should go to them. And at that time, we established the fund. We are a little bit less than a year. And now it's time to make some conclusions of the first part of the first year of our activity. Before Debaltseva, the situation in November was rather calm, and people tried to help us. They gave us some expertise, some knowledge, because we were not prepared. We were trying to train ourselves how to conduct this activity. We had trainings due to Russian and German cooperation, and was a trip of from 21 initiative to Germany, Berlin, to share experience with the civil society organizations from Germany. Germany is one of the biggest countries of Europe who accept refugees, and they understand how to help refugees in large numbers. And after this experience, we understood that we should establish a fund to become a legal person and try to deal with these processes at the other level. Starting from spring, we understood that we should expand our activity outside Kiev and Kievska Oblast, and we focused on Luganska Oblast, and we saw that less help is provided to Luganska Oblast because maybe it's rather far. I won't go into detail and try to analyze that, why it was like this. And we understood that we should contact local authorities. Only they know this problem from inside, and they know the information better when we in Kiev. We established contacts with Lugansk administration and those who deal with social policy, and we got information and contacts from them with social services of Stanishny Lugansk region that suffered a lot. And we redirected our activity to Lugansk Oblast, and we were helped by private contributions and the Ukrainian diaspora in Israel, Austria, Germany, Poland, Italy, Switzerland. And starting from April, we established contacts with the centers of first medical help, and they had ambulances and small settlements, and they established feedback, and we know how to react, and with the territorial centers of social security. So we are speaking now about pensioners and disabled. These are not only old people, but also children, a lot of them. And it was rather hot there, and we worked a lot, and we were surprised when till October 2015, medical and medicine, in instance, we provided medicines for them, or medical equipment, glucometers and other, and maybe some crunches, diapers, but mostly these were medicines. We didn't buy maybe what is important. We got feedback, and if, for example, there was an earache, we brought medicines from this ache and not from some other type of pain. And we established close cooperation with people who worked locally. We had lists of needs of those people. We established contacts and continue to cooperate with pharmaceutical companies and services, with drugstores, and they formed lists of drugs that were needed. These were individual kits, for example, for Ivanova, what she needs, and for other people who need something special. And we brought these medical products to people in their homes. We communicated with old people. We tried to tell them, and they didn't even know that this is a charity fund. We tried to say that this help was brought from Kiev, that there's a lot of people in Ukraine, they know about them and want to help them, try to get to collect the money for them and know their needs, and to bring these goods to them, to smile at them, and also to shake their hands and to give some hope to these people. And this is the most important thing, the biggest message in this process. This is very important for everyone. And in the course of personal contact, during communication, we understood the depth of this problem. We understood that there's some statistics of some illnesses, and it was shocking for us. And we understood that the help will be needed for a long period. Why medicines? Maybe we could do something else. And many people said that they provide social benefits, and drugstores open there, but situation is volatile there. But at that moment, we worked with Luhansk Oblast. The drugstore could only work for 2 or 3 hours, and mostly it was closed. And during these 2 or 3 hours, if you get there, but there were shellings, even during the day, it was difficult to buy what you need. And there were some instances with asthma where you can buy something and you can get something, but during the night, this person, he or she, they used the whole content of the medical supply, and they couldn't support themselves, and they could fall into the coma. This is briefly what is going on. Our individual help, our individual kits from Kiev and to the gray zone. And about our future activities, the help of donors started to decrease, and we had to understand that we should get into the next niche to provide to conduct monitoring and to seek help through international donors. And at that time we saw that they are serious about this problem, and they try to enter deeply into the situation, both in Luhansk and Donetsk Oblast, and until till October, our help was about in Luhansk Oblast 108,000 hryvnias, and we are only 4 people here in our fund, so this is a great achievement for us. And we are very glad that we made such a contribution. And then we understood that there's a need we don't hear anything. And till this time, we understood that in Donetsk Oblast the situation is the same, and we have the necessary experience and can help. And we understood that the target group is the same, and the area of our contact is really at the line of contact. And we defined location. We wrote a project and won, and this is was a DRC, and they provided a grant for us, and we were oriented to provide the same help at the same scope, provided medicines, individual kits, and we understood that the situation is really hard, so we should provide serious medication, serious medicines, but we can't provide these medicines by ourselves. So we provided also doctors' kits, and these were some antidepressants and other medicines, and with the help of local doctors we were able to provide more serious help, not only some simple drugs of some drugs to reduce pressure, but also some serious medicines. And the main location is Stanica Luganska, with the closest settlements of Marinka, Krasnogorovka, Avdiivka. And for some time we were able to help Mariupol area, namely Granitna, Telmarsky region, and as I remember, it's a Volnovakha region now.
Let me ask you one question. Do you have statistics how many residents have you covered with your aid? Yes, of course, we have such statistical data. It is rather precise. Speaking of about the number of personal medical kits, the number is about 200 persons, but the statistics cannot be too precise because the doctors' medical kits helped to approximately 500 people, and we also provided glucometers and tonometers, and we don't know how many people have been covered with tonometer and glucometer devices. Many people just have no batteries, no accumulator, no rechargers. That is why they can't use their tonometers and glucometers, which they have at home. So there is one more question have you supported and are you now supporting Lugansk and Donetsk residents in the areas which are not controlled by the government of Ukraine? Could you provide any statistics? This is a very interesting question, and it is in the legislative area. Yes, for some persons we helped. We had provided our help before we became a legal entity, because this is the other question. We should report to the tax inspectorate the acts of transfer of our medicines, and it is impossible to get any documents proving acceptance of medicines from the legal entities in the occupied territory. And we also face cases of sabotage. Some bodies also report that if some people show their passport details, some other people may get loans using their passport details. In such circumstances, the medical kit is delivered to a person, but a person does not demonstrate his or her passport because of such fear, which was invoked by those sabotage groups. One more question from me. Tell us, please, what are the most which medicines are most in demand, and also the old people which you are dealing with, what is their attitude, and can you provide them information to change their attitudes to Ukraine? The second question is very painful. It is very sensitive. Those people, they are in the situation when they should permanently have at least 2 or 3 attitudes. It is very hard. It is very difficult to understand from here why he smiles to us, and at night some neighbors may come to his flat and to explain him that he or she can't behave like that, because sometimes there is only 15 or 20 kilometers or 600 meters between the occupied and non-occupied areas, and they also have not yet overcome the shock of shellings, and also they are covered by TV channels broadcast from Russia and DPR and LPR. Yeah, they smile to us, they cry. It is very hard to work with them. They thank us. Of course, we we're hearing many claims to the president. And they express their anger or some information which is false. There were some incidents when one mother of a 29-year-old young man tried to persuade us that this person is captive in Mariupol. We can't smile, we can't cry, we should be very neutral, very, very neutral attitude. as concern the double or triple attitudes which they now have. They have been in the information situation when they were covered by Russian TV channels, and this is of influence of them. There are very pro-Ukrainian citizens, but as usual they are or higher educated, or they were born in other regions of Ukraine. What are the key demands, the key needs of the pensioners you help to? I would like to switch to an old age persons now. I would like to talk that we have provided to Marina Poroshenko. We submitted an information communication about the monitoring and next steps. We found that the main diseases in the grain area, this is mass scale strokes or infections which happened several months ago in Ольхова, Марьинка, Красногорьевка, Авдеевка, Гранитная, in all those settlements we need children's devices for measuring arterial pressure, and also tonometers, standard tonometers. Despite government funded programs, they really are in operation, and despite of that, diabetes demonstrate the trend to increase. Those persons need money to test the level of sugar in blood. So that is why we need blood glucose monitors, and also we need some medicines against diabetes and against asthma. Even those persons who earn their living, they still do not have enough money to pay for medicines. And cancer, we need tramadol. This is the only medicine which is dispensed in the drugstores in those settlements. And also deafness and blindness and and you know how the blind or deaf persons hide from shellings just under the pillow or under the bed because they are blind. The deafness saves them from the outside world. Otherwise, you need an apparatus to hear something. As concerned the destructions, the destroyed houses of civilians, the district administrations, they issue acts on destroyed houses, but they issue them mostly to their own relatives, and all those pensioners and old people and disabled persons, they remain in the destroyed houses. Nobody helps them, nobody provides them assistance with rehabilitation of the destroyed housing. As concerns gas supply, it is too expensive for Ukrainian population. There is an alternative version of heat supply. They are just self-made coal burn or some wooden fired stoves, ovens, which are used by people to warm their bodies. And here is the question: disabled people can't get outside because of their disability, and they can't get coal for their small stoves. And the destroyed housing can get minor repairs of destroyed housing is funded by international donors. Thank you for your information, Ms. Ponomaryova. One more question from our audience. Good afternoon, Ms. Ponomaryova. My name is Sergey Malarchuk, UCMC. I have a question. Despite medicines, are you going to provide psychological assistance to the victims of this military conflict? Well, psychological aid is offered, but people often reject it, maybe because of some shortcomings with delivery. We are not going to deliver psychological aid, but in our next project we included physiotherapeutic medicine aid, the small devices will be supplied, which also will deliver people a kind of moral support through exchange of information, which these old people will get through communication with medical workers, and because they will have some plans for tomorrow and to have some conversation with such medical staff. Thank you, Ms. Ponomaryova, for being with us and for your information. We hope to have the next conversation with you soon, as well as with Ms. Malchenko, which has not been with us today. Thank you. Colleagues, thank you for being with us. Our next press conference within Spokesperson